making eye contact or if they are avoiding looking at each other.
I think what it was saying is that Savidlin was standing there and Kahlan and Richard locked arms in like a, not like they were pissed at Savidlin or like they were locking arms with him, but they were like came together as they passed him. And then because it said some of the people reached out to touch him, all he could do was give a sympathetic squeeze of the arm, and then as they were packing their things, they finally locked eyes and shared a look for the loss of their new friends. So I'm thinking maybe it was like they were sad as they walked away, and so they leaned on each other as they were walking out.
So it wasn't like a hug. It was like, we're in close proximity. Hey, love you, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. The way that it was written made it seem like they were facing each other and gave, like, an actual embrace.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe they did. I don't know.
Maybe we're going way too deep. This beer is good.
Yes, it is. Suddenly, Richard started frantically looking through his bag as they're packing, and he is freaking out because he realized that the Nightstone is missing.
I've done this a lot.
Just lost things? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You lose something and you panic, and I believe that this scene is just a little bit unbelievable because he notices that the Nightstone is gone, and he's like, hey, the Nightstone is gone. And Kahlan gets vibes from him saying, hey, it's gone. But the obvious second step is, hey, have you seen the Nightstone?
Yeah.
He just panics about it. The joke I was trying to make and kind of bombed, but did make my point about is that when I lose shit, I'm always like, hey, Jade.
Yeah.
Did you see my shit? Because I lost it. And, 4 eyes are better than 2.
And that works, like, most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. And Richard doesn't even try that move. And it's not there.
Yeah, I don't think it even says that he looked under, like, the couch.
Nope, I don't think he did, but he definitely will once he's done recording a podcast.
He's panicking now because he believes the stone could wake the dead. And he's kind of upset that Addie didn't tell him that. My thing was, I remember what happened with the shadow people, right? I get that.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that in an earlier episode.
Yeah. I feel like, though, it might be a little bit of a jump to assume that it can wake the dead. Like, when you're in the underworld, it could have functioned as, like, a magnet. That doesn't necessarily mean that, like, out of the underworld, you're, like, pulling corpses out the ground.
Right. I mean, in the underworld, like you said, but they're already there in the underworld. So nothing needs to be woken.
Yeah.
Yeah. But right. No, I think you're right. I think he assumed a little bit too much when he said it wakes the dead, but like it stirs him up. Yeah. So that's true. He may not know the difference.
Right.
But it's not good. And so Richard is pissed off because he's like, hey, Addie didn't tell us about this. That's bullshit. And
yeah. Like we said.
Right. Exactly. Like we said. We were like, she kind of sent him in blind and that was bullshit. But what we didn't catch is that she gave him a riddle. Now, we know about Richard and we know about riddles. And Richard fucking hates riddles.
Dude, I don't blame him.
They are the bane of his existence. Almost to a comical level when she's like, well, actually, Richard, she did tell us she just used a riddle. And he was like, fuck, I hate riddles.
Especially because this is such a vague fucking riddle. If there be need enough equals the dead are attracted to you when you take it out? What the fuck?
Right. Well, it wouldn't be useful for a guy who's drowning, say. So obviously, don't walk near the cemetery because it will raise the dead and they will eat your brains.
Yeah. What the fuck?
You couldn't assume that? No.
So, again, though, were those shadow things in the past either way? Because I feel like you don't need to use a riddle to be like, hey, there's shadow things in the thing.
Yeah, I feel like they were there originally. I mean, you're walking dangerously close to the boundary, and I mean, in essence, you are in a part of the boundary. So they're there with you.
So Addie could have at least warned them that they would have seen those things.
But she did. She just used the riddle. See? That face.
False.
I love you. And Richard still can't believe that the stone is missing. He's just like fucking pissed that somebody got into his shit and took the stone. You know, he never took it out of his pack, and he had his pack with them just last night, you know, when they were hanging out with Savidlin and Wesselin and Sidon, and then they looked at each other and said it was Sidon. The kid took the stone, which is a lot of balls for a kid going through a guest's pack, especially a dude, Richard, who just threatened all the, like, top dudes in your village with a sword.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I mean, obviously, we haven't read the next chapter, so I'm sure we'll find out more about it. But, like, why was it just hanging out in your bag so easily? Like, why was this kid going through your bag? Did you tell him there's treats in it? Like, what?
If he was just looking through your shit, because he's a little kid, and little kids do shit, and he saw the stone, which is so black it sucks the light out of a room, I could see him wanting to, like, pick it up and touch it at least. Like, oh, what is that? And, okay, that's cool. So now I have a cool stone, and I'm going to go take off. I could see a kid doing it. I don't know why he would be dumb enough to go through Richard's stuff.
Well, I mean, I now that you are talking, it's making me think, like, he is a kid, and kids
get into shit.
And these kids in particular, we have been told, are given pretty much free reign. They're not watched really a whole lot. They can really do whatever they want.
Right. They're never told no.
So everybody was watching what was going on with the elders, and Sidon was like, I'm going to go fuck with the stranger's stuff, because what else would you want to do? Like, nothing else is new and exciting in the Mud People's Village except these people. Okay, I'm going to go see what kind of cool shit he has in his bag. And he just happens upon the Nightstone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally believable. Kids get into shit. Richard and Kahlan having the sudden, like, oh my God, it was Sidon. Right? Like, it was obviously the kid.
Yeah.
But considering what Richard just revealed to us, because, I mean, okay, he suspects that it might, but we know it does do some shit. We've heard Addie say it. That's really dangerous for a little kid to have. All jokes aside, a whole bunch of dead things then, in theory, would be coming towards him. I think that's what Richard is fearing. He has the stone, but, like, it was just in the bag, but Richard had the stone.
Yeah.
But it's because he has the stone and the bone that he's safe? Or, I mean, ... here, but...
Yeah, well, I'm excited for the next chapter, because I vaguely remember what happens, but I need actual solid
smoky,
facts. Huh? Yeah.
It has been a while since we've read this book, so, yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Well, if you guys can't wait to get into it, or if you have any thoughts or questions or, complaints about this chapter, please get after us at podcastatt@gmail.com, or on Instagram at podcastatt, or on Twitter at podcast_ATT, or on our Facebook page at podcastatt, or all the things. And, yeah, I think that about wraps it up, except for our Patreon.
That's right. If you guys wanted to help this podcast grow, you can go to patreon.com/podcastatt and become a patron. After you do that, you'll get access to deep cuts and gag reels, and you'll also get a personalized shout out on air. Because, we'll think you're cool then. And that's all you want, is for us to think you're cool, right?
Right.
That was too much of a grab. I'm sorry. But, as always, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye.